Greetings, EastEnders fans. Welcome to this week's Albert Square After Dark, your weekly EastEnders podcast. This week, we'll be discussing the episodes that aired between the 30th of March 2026 to the 2nd of April 2026. How are you all? Hope you're well. Joining me today is Rob. Hello, Rob. How are you?
Very well, thank you, Rihanna. How are you this week?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Have you managed to make yourself a cuppa or anything?
Oh, right. Okay. So, my God. People will associate and understand my pain that I'm going through this week because we are having our kitchen refitted this week. Well, I say this week, this month. And at the minute, so we are without worktops. We haven't got an oven. The gas has been sort of taken out of the ovens and all that kind of thing. So we're cooking out of an air fryer at the minute, which is in the living room. The microwave's in the living room. The kettle is kind of hanging on a ladder. It's like, it's
kettle's on a ladder.
Drilling and hammering and stuff coming in.
It's all worth it. It's all worth it by the time it's done.
It better be.
It's awful when you're having stuff done to your house, especially. Yeah. I think kitchen and bathroom have got to be the worst too, right?
Yeah, I mean, bathroom, I could deal with the bathroom because that's like a little, we've got quite a tiny bathroom, so that would be fine. Yeah. I'd be fine with that. The kitchen is one of the biggest rooms in the house, so that's a lot of sort of drilling and sanding and hammering and just, you do not realise quite how inconvenient your life becomes without worktops, I would say.
I can understand that one. Ugh, gosh. Anyway,
so,
did you get happening? Well, you've got a kettle though on a ladder.
Yes, so I have a cup of tea. I have a cup of tea. So cheers to that.
Cheers.
Right, new month.
It is.
Month. It is
a new month.
It is April.
It's now. April, Rob. Does April mean anything to you at all?
April Fool's Day.
Other than April Fool's Day? No. Okay.
Oh, April. Apart from our anniversary, our third birthday.
There we go.
Happy birthday, Rihanna.
Happy birthday, Rob.
Let's have a look and see what our birthday month entails, and what else would it be other than Janine kicking the shite out of Laura on the landing. I think this was leading into. This was leading into Laura's exit, I think, as well.
Yeah.
That was the episode that she fell down the stairs.
I was just going to say that, yeah. That's what she fell down
look
the
at
stairs.
that. She has even marked on the calendar the 8th of April, Albert Square, After Dark, 3rd anniversary. So that's nice. Well done, Ree. Very, very good.
See, I'm good, aren't I?
So
I thought you'd forgotten. We'd not mentioned it.
No, not at all. Not at all. I don't forget these things. So April the 1st, obviously, was April Fool's Day.
Yes.
Now, I'm not normally a fan of April Fool's Day. I won't lie to you. It gets on my tits.
Yeah, I know. It's a bit old now. However.
But EastEnders, right? Did you see what their April Fool joke? Well, because obviously every year all the soaps do something to go, lol, April Fool's Day.
Everyone on social media does.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Did you see what EastEnders was this year?
Yeah.
So they did a whole thing where they were saying, oh, what we're going to do is we're going to film a special episode purely from the perspective of the Queen Vic bust. And they'd done like a silly photo and like put a camera goggles on it or something and a microphone over the top of it and made it look silly. But am I the only one that thinks there was a gem of a really good idea there?
No, you're not the only one. I think
that's a great idea.
That. Yeah.
No, I think if you got the story right, there's an episode to be made there that could be really interesting.
Yeah, I agree with you. Or at the very least, like maybe, an online show or something. It's just like people coming in and out of. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. But then arguably you could just do a day in the life of Tracy, really, and have a few more. But no, there was some merit to it, definitely.
No, I think there's a gem of a good idea there. And I think that they'll be surprised by the reaction. Because a lot of people online were like, that's not a bad idea, to be fair.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if in the next year something like that gets announced. Because I think that people actually reacted quite well to it. So I guess we'll see. So EastEnders this week. A solid week, actually, I thought. I thought this was, I enjoyed this week. Thought it was solid. Lots going on. We've got about 6 different storylines to discuss. Everything that went on with Penny. Our suspicions were verified, I think.
Do you mean mine?
Well,
my suspicions.
Oh, yeah, like the fact.
Remember, Ree's always right, Rob.
Honest to God, right? Stuff that even I come out with, you get credit for now.
Well, we both said it, in fairness.
My blood, sweat and tears going to this podcast. And you get all the recognition.
We both said, in fairness, that we thought it's probably not Vinnie's baby. But everybody said, Ree, you were right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, did I specifically say Harry or did you say Harry as well?
Who knows? I imagine you said it. I mean, to be fair, I
did say Harry.
I could sit here a year in advance and quote the entire script and people will go, yeah, fair play, Ree. Yeah, fair play.
If you've not gathered, by the way, everyone, Rob has been ranting at me.
What the hell?
All week on WhatsApp, and I have been pissing myself. It's so
It's
funny.
outrageous.
So what I implore you to do is the next time Rob's right about something, hashtag
Just give
Ree's
Ree the
always
credit.
right.
Yeah, oh, no,
Just
you
give
don't need
me
to
the
implore them.
credit.
They'll do that anyway. Don't you worry about that. Right, there we go then.
Right.
So, we have much to discuss this week of all the times that Ree was right in this week's Albert Square After Dark. Right, let's kick off this week of Ree is Always Right After Dark. We're talking about Vicki and Zack, first of all. So,
Yes.
Zack has moved in to Vicki and Ross's. Not Vicki's fault. To be fair, Ross is the one that implemented this, and he will live to regret it, I suspect.
Yeah, just a bit. Come on.
Come on.
Fair incoming either.
And a huge infair is coming, I suspect. Huge infair any minute now.
A fair incoming, right?
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, just a bit. I mean, for God's sake, if someone like Zack is walking around your house topless, having just come out of the shower, his body glistening with shower water, anyone's having an affair with that.
That's exactly what's going to start happening, isn't
Yeah.
it? Those little moments, glances, and yeah, but if she loves Ross, that shouldn't matter, should it, Rob? It shouldn't matter who's there.
Oh, come on, it's temptation in Walford. Nothing else.
Do you know what? I'm normally not. I'm normally like, oh, whatever, we're in a fair storyline. But I'm totally here for this, actually. I'm actually looking forward
I like
to
them together.
it.
I mean, this is the thing.
So do I.
They even had this moment this week. They had that whole classical moment where Zack gets injured. I wasn't quite sure how Zack got injured because he did something with Barney in the allotments, something to do with a graph, and then ended up hurting his hand on a shed. I don't quite understand how that all played out.
I think he just cut his hand.
Oh, how though? I thought he was doing something with graphs and grass fielding and all that kind of thing. So how did he end up getting injured on a shed?
Graphs?
Yeah, because Barney was on about Barney was on about some sort of like science thing. So I don't understand how Zack ended up getting his hands caught on a shed.
Oh, God knows. He did it anyway. He managed it somehow.
Because science. So yes, Zack has moved in because Ross has taken pity on him and said, "Oh, you may as well move in. It's Sharon's house after all. She would tell you to move in here if she was here."
It does make sense. To be fair, like she would say that, and had he not previously slept with Vicky, he would have done that anyway. So,
exactly. So. You know, therein lies the issue. Yes, Mark's not impressed, but then I'm getting the impression with Mark that it's not easy to impress Mark at the best of times, to be fair.
I'm not being funny, but what's beef with Mark? Why does he care, really? Hasn't he got bigger fish to fry?
You think? He's got 100 grand to be raking up from somewhere else. He's got bigger things to worry about than his sister having an affair with Zack, hasn't he?
Him being all disapproving, like, it's like, do you know what you've been up to, Mark? Like, are you anyone to be saying anything? She's had a one night stand with Zack once. Like, who are you to be a little Mr. Judgmental? However, obviously not condoning that she had this one night stand.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it is all legit as well, to be fair, because she is going to do it. She is going to end up doing this because she had originally said to Zack, "You just move in with us. We'll be fine. We can keep our hands off each other.
There's not even anything going on between us.
We've already had sex. We've got that out of our systems. Everything's fine. Yeah. Everything's fine." And then she realizes, actually, no, that's complete rubbish. I'll be on my back quicker than, if I'd fallen over when I was drunk. So obviously you can't move in here. And then Ross kind of gets in behind and invites him in. So how long? I mean, by next week?
Nah, I don't think that's soon. I think we'll have a little bit of a gradual build up. Maybe in the next few weeks, and I think we need a few more like passing moments of them like touching hands and being like glancing at each other first, and then it'll happen. Or what is Ross doing with Martin's shed at the allotment?
Well, I was going to ask about this. So they go, because whatever drama kicked off with the shed, Ross goes down to fix it. And Vicky goes with him, and they end up having sex outside the allotments. Because of course you do. Because there's nothing sexier than the smell of like carrots and potatoes going on around.
I thought you were gonna say to me, "Of course they did. They got caught up in moment." Because I was gonna say to you, "Just go home. You go to bed, ain't you?"
I know it wasn't that far. It wasn't that far, was it? But no, let's do it against that shed. Yes. So they end up doing that, and then unfortunately, out of Patrick's shed come Harvey and Winston and Shrimpy. And just all the lads. And then at some point there seems to be some arrangements or something that's going to go on where they're going to end up storing beer in Martin's shed or something.
I think basically the saying is all lads go down there to have a cheeky beer, right?
But then it's tradition for that allotment, to be fair. It's not unusual. I don't see an issue with that.
But then they're saying, oh, but when Patrick's away, we're not going to be able to because Yolanda's going to have key and she's definitely not going to let us have it.
Yeah.
So then I think Ross has thought, right, I'll do it Martin's shed then. That can be the new place. And then they'll store it there so that they can go and drink in Martin's shed, is what I'm guessing.
Well, yeah,
But
which I'm
then,
guessing is going to be seen as some sort of desecration to his memory. But the problem with that is that if Martin was alive, he would
oh, I
definitely be
didn't
doing
think of
that.
that.
I mean, well,
Yeah,
he would
yeah,
definitely be doing that in the shed, right?
yeah,
Of course he
yeah. I
would.
think that'd honour Martin, if
Of course it
anything.
would. Martin would love that,
But
right?
I did wonder if Ross is. There's got to be some relevance, surely.
Yeah,
I
because
wondered if
otherwise,
Ross is going to do it all up, and then it'll actually end up being where Vicky goes to have her affair with Zach or something. Like
oh,
that'll be their meeting
maybe.
place.
Oh, interesting.
Or
Yeah.
or Ross will always be down the shed with the lads, and then Vicky and Zach will be at the house, maybe one or the other. I'm guessing
Right. Oh,
because
okay. Yeah.
otherwise, how are they going to have an affair if they're all in the house all the time? You know what I mean?
Well,
So I
people.
feel like the shed facilitates it one way or
Yes,
another.
yes. So either way, the shed's getting shagged in or drunk in, we think then. Is
Exactly.
that? Yes, right.
Exactly.
Okay, fine,
Yes,
fine, fine.
definitely.
I feel like Mark is going to be the issue here. I feel like Mark is he's going to start getting into some sort of feud or rivalry or something with Zach because he's going to be overprotective of
Oh,
Vicky,
I just
and then
think
he's going to mess it up somewhere on the way, isn't he?
I think he needs to bore off. I were actually
He's
getting
got his own
annoyed at him
issues.
this week. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's got his
Can't
own
leave her
problems.
alone.
Yeah, I mean, just let her get on with it. But yeah, the whole Vicky and Zach thing, I don't mind this because they've got good chemistry on screen together.
Yeah,
I
they
think,
have.
haven't they?
I
Yeah,
like
they
it.
really have.
I like that it's an affair as well. I like it more
You
than them
like
just
it?
like getting together. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
mind it.
yeah. It's got that extra sort of layer of excitement to it.
Yeah,
Also, what I'm
yeah.
quite liking is Vicky and Barney's relationship as well.
Yes, that'll be nice. Yeah, I'll see. She can be.
Mm.
Oh, come on, stepmom to Barney. That'll be a breath of fresh
Oh,
air for her, won't it?
Vicky would be a great mum to Barney, right? I mean,
Yeah, she
he's
would.
used to gobby women being a mother figure in his life, so Vicky shouldn't be an issue, right?
I think that they'd get on perfectly well, actually.
Cup of
Do you
tea,
not think as
absolutely.
well, with the Mark thing? I feel like, in fairness, I'm being quite harsh because I think he was more of a tool so that we've got Vicky talking about her feelings to somebody. Otherwise, we don't know what she's
Well, yeah,
thinking.
narratively, we need someone to
Yeah,
sort of know about the affair for us to be able
yeah,
to have Vicky kind of verbalize what's going on. So
yes,
actually,
exactly.
that is the script
Yeah,
reason why Mark knows about it all for
yeah,
sure. Yeah,
yeah,
but in terms of like what you getting involved for, like
yeah,
you say,
yeah.
you have much bigger things to worry about right now than your
Hmm.
sister having an affair with someone who you didn't like. You don't even like Ross that much, Mark. To be
Yeah,
fair,
innit? That's
you
what will
walked
get in
in
me,
and knocked him out in the first 5 minutes of you being on the
innit?
square. So
Yeah, and
let's chill out a sec.
he even said that. He even said to Vicky, like, "Oh, I don't really like Ross, but like,
Yeah,
well, if you're gonna choose, then I'm gonna stand by you." And then,
yeah.
you
Like
know, man.
really, given the choice, like, would you rather have your sister be with the bloke who had the incel son who beat you up, or the hot guy who cooks really well?
The hot
I
guy,
mean,
but you don't view him as the hot guy, Ross.
everyone views Zach as the hot guy, right? It's not just me, please. It's not just me. I know it's
No,
not.
but no, valid. Like, if he was to pick out of the two, if he actually got to know him, he would probably
Yeah,
prefer
yeah,
Zach
yeah. Of course
anyway.
he would.
Yeah,
Also,
yeah.
this whole money situation thing. I spoke last week about a potential story that was coming for
Mm.
Zach about him maybe falling into a sort of OnlyFans gay for pay type
Oh
area that
yeah.
I'd seen online. Somebody in the journalistic industry got in touch with me this week and said that's bollocks. That ain't happening. That's a false story. So I was like, oh, so
Oh, spreading fake news on our
yeah,
podcast, Ross.
apparently so.
Fantastic.
Don't. I'm bitterly disappointed. Bitterly.
Well, it might happen. Yeah. Why? How do they know?
Because
Do
they're a
they know? They
journalist
just
and
know.
because they
Oh,
know
they got
stuff
all
that
the
goes on.
inside
Yeah, yeah,
scoop.
yeah,
Fair
yeah, yeah,
enough. I
yeah,
was going to
yeah.
say maybe he'd have done that at the shed. Maybe Ross would have been his photographer or something. No, but no, if it's not
No,
happening, it's not happening.
no,
Yeah.
that isn't happening. So I assume that actually
Okay.
this is kind of going to be sort of the money problem was the reason why Zach will move in, and then probably won't hear
Yeah.
that much
And
about the
then
money stuff from here on in. It's now going to be more focused on the Vicky and Zach aspect of it. So
yeah,
you say give it more than a week. Frankly, I'll be surprised if both their clothes are still on by Tuesday.
you might be right. You probably it probably is, but just credit me if he is right,
Yeah,
please.
so I'll say, but if it happens by Tuesday, well done, Ree, for getting that. Yeah. Right, on to B and Honey now. B, hello. What is she doing? What is she doing? What's she
She's
planning?
great.
What is she
Yeah,
planning?
I can't figure out what she's planning at all. So she
I,
overhears this conversation with Josh and Denise. And did you not think Denise was going to turn around at some point and be like, "Hello, B, what are
can
you
you piss
doing?"
off, please? What are you listening to our
Literally
conversation for? No,
lurking
she doesn't. She just melts
behind a
into the
bush,
background. She's like a
like that
ninja.
Homer Simpson meme.
Yeah, exactly. She just appears in the back of scenes
Yeah,
and just listens and gets
yeah.
ideas. I mean, I'm not entirely sure what she overheard in that conversation that made her decide to AI Billy, but you
The
know.
the Patrick had AI dance in his
Oh,
voice,
is that
so it
all it
gave her the
was?
idea.
Was that
Yeah,
all it
so that's
was?
what Denise was
Oh,
saying, like, oh Josh, he seems okay now, but it were only a few weeks ago that he was AI in his son's voice so that he could talk
yeah.
to him. And the AI, recreated Anthony's voice and then be like, light bulb.
I mean,
Brilliant idea.
yeah, which then leads her to being in the living room on her own and saying into an just as an example, I'm Vinnie Mitchell and I'm a prize sausage. Because that's as
I love her.
vicious as B can
I
be
love her.
verbally.
She's
But
great, isn't she?
God knows what she's got planned. I've got no idea what
Well,
she's going to do with this.
I have no idea either, but the only
But you'll
thing
be
I
right
could
about it, no matter what you say. So I
hope so.
assume your lack of ideas will be absolutely right.
The only thing I could think is she's going to try and make out Billy's tried it on with her or something because she's very
Yeah,
fixated on the fact that he cheated on Honey.
yeah. Well, she
Obviously, she's got a
discovers that
being
this
about it,
week.
no pun
Yeah, there
intended.
we go. Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, yeah, she discovers this week about his little
yeah,
tryst with Tina. I
yeah,
quite like the moment where she said to Honey, "Well, I'd have killed her," and Honey went, "Well, someone beat you to that, so that's fine."
yeah, yeah. So don't worry about that.
About
Yeah.
that.
So I'm wondering if she's going to try and get this AI thing that's created Billy's voice
Uh,
to make out that he's tried it on with her and then like pretend that she's recorded a conversation that's gone on between them both or something and then play it to Honey as evidence,
yeah,
maybe.
something
Or
crazy
just
like
that he's
that. Yeah,
saying or that he's just saying nasty things to her or something and then she's going to pretend that she's recorded it somehow.
or maybe she's going to make him say a loads of like really controversial things or something.
Get him cancelled.
Getting cancelled.
I
Yes,
mean,
and the sky's the limit, really.
is he even cancelled on all, you know what I mean? Like he probably gets
Oh yeah,
cancelled all the time,
I
Billy, I would
mean,
have
let's be
thought.
real. Half the characters on EastEnders should be cancelled by the things they get
Yeah.
up to. To be fair,
Yeah,
shouldn't they?
exactly.
I mean, God knows where she's going with this, but she's got a real bee in her bonnet about Billy at the moment because she sees him as like this person who's completely betrayed this woman that she's becoming slowly obsessed with.
Very
Uh,
obsessed with.
yeah, so this isn't going to end well. She is currently like proper living at their house at the moment, including to the point where she has moved beds in and all that kind of thing because the bed that she was staying in was not comfortable enough, so she's like ordered herself a four-poster bed or something, which I wouldn't be
I'm glad
surprised at.
I'm glad that Billy acknowledged like you've got all this money to spend but you can't afford your own place. I'm glad
Yeah,
that got mentioned at
yeah.
least because
But
but
then what
yeah,
she'll do is whenever he says anything like that, she's like, "Well, I wouldn't want about to take my welcome," and like just pulls the tears out.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
so
Well,
every week that we see B, it's becoming more and more logical as to why that guy that chucked her out before was calling her a parasite, was calling
yeah,
her like the worst person on earth. Like
yeah,
she is one of these people that is just toxic and damaging to be around, and at the same time having absolutely no idea why what she's doing is wrong.
exactly. But brilliant. I want
It's
more.
fascinating.
I'm just interested to know where it's going with Billy's voice because I actually can't figure it out. I don't know if it is going to be that.
No,
Or is
but
it
I
like
mean something
fraud? Is
bad.
she going to just get another credit card and use his voice
Yeah,
and get it in
maybe.
Billy's name or something?
I
I don't
have no
know.
idea. I have no idea what she's capable of, and that's quite fascinating. And that's what we love about a character when you
Yeah.
just look at her and go, "I have no idea what you're going to do
Mm.
next," and it's brilliant.
Is
I love her.
can she go as extreme as Reese? Like, because you could compare them in some ways, I
I
feel.
really, really, really don't want her to go down that route because
Yeah.
once you kill somebody, you're done. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
you've got but unless your name's Janine, like you've got a shelf life, and I don't
Yeah.
want B to have a shelf life. I mean, yes,
Mm.
she is heading down a path, I suspect, where she's going to end up having an ultimate comeuppance, and then that'll be the
Yeah.
end of B. But at the same time, you want somebody who can like last long term and
Mm.
not go down the sort of predictable. I'm going to say boring route of like being a
Yeah.
killer because
I
we've
know what
seen
you
it
mean.
so many times on soap and it's just there's only
Mm.
so many ways you can do it. And I think B is unique enough as a character to not have to do that with, to be honest
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah. But she would be the type who could accidentally kill somebody and then ends up killing people. Bit like how
Yeah,
Reese
yeah. I
started
just
going,
hope it doesn't
weren't
go
it?
down there. I mean, to be fair, like she's in a position now where she could do, I mean, I could say worse than killing somebody, but that's not really what I mean. But what I mean is like she could destroy Billy's life without having to
Yeah.
kill anybody. Like she can
Yeah.
turn his family against him quite easily with whatever
Hmm.
she's planning on doing with this AI thing. Isn't it mad how AI is becoming like a real plot point in the soaps these
Yeah.
days? So it's a thing.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
No,
It's
it
not going
is. Well,
anywhere.
It's real, isn't it?
Yeah,
Me and my other half were saying last night, like when you're scrolling through now, you're like, that's AI. Like it's
yeah,
mad how much is
it's
just
everywhere.
AI and you don't even realise.
It
Yeah,
is
it's getting a bit
everywhere.
scary.
But
Um, Something else, by the way, with the whole honey bee Billy thing.
mhm,
Honey went to the private clinic, didn't she? So do you
yes.
think that's the way that they're handling this now with Honey? Because I don't know, I'd be a little bit disappointed if their fix is, well, she's just gone private and then she'll get the care that she needs,
I don't
rather
know.
than actually exploring the journey of, her going
Well,
through the menopause on the NHS, because that's
no, I
what they
mean, I
were.
don't think so because I think that she had a moment this week, when she was supposed to go to the
Mm,
restaurant, she was like, and actually what she had was a really bad period. So there's going to be
yeah.
moments like that where it's sort of like, I did see an interesting comment on YouTube last week. I can't remember who said it, so apologies for that. But they said something about the doctor that Honey went to see last week and raised the point of the fact that Honey had clearly gone there with all her own research and everything like that, and was basically telling the doctor what was wrong with her
Mm.
and making the point that like Dr. Google must be the most irritating thing for a doctor to have to deal with. So I can sort of see that perspective of it as well.
I do it. Yeah, I understand that as well. However, I've also been to a doctor who's gone on Google in front of me before.
Mm,
So there is that. I don't know. I guess doctors have to make their own judgment on whether someone's making
mm,
an informed appointment, I guess, if you like, or not. But
mm.
yeah, I still think it was very obvious what she was saying was probably right. But there we
Well,
go.
yeah, but that's the. But I think this is the other thing though. It's sort of like every single woman. It's not like she was going there with some sort of rare disorder or something like that, where it's just like she's going to list off reel
Yeah,
off a load of symptoms that could be anything else except the thing that she is claiming that she's got. Like
like
this is pre-menopause. Like most
especially
women are
given
going
her
to go through this at
age.
some point. Yeah,
Like she
exactly.
literally fits like ticks every box for it. This is what doesn't make sense, isn't it?
Mm,
It's almost like going to a doctor and giving them. I mean, it's the opposite. If anything, doctors know like, are you pregnant? But if you went to a GP and gave them all the list, like give them all the things and went, oh, these are all my symptoms of pregnancy. I think I'm pregnant without having done a test. Would they go, oh, well, do you think it could be this first or this or this? Like they wouldn't be dismissive of something like that. So why is it different with perimenopause? It just clearly not enough training, is there?
Yeah, so anyway, B is just again, just to sum it up, fascinating. I love her. I'm fascinated by her. I'm dying to see what she's going to do next with Billy. I mean, Billy's doomed, is my conclusion. I feel like Billy is not going to win whatever B is going to do. I feel like
Nah.
because I'm already getting the sense that Honey is sort of thinking that Billy is being a little bit melodramatic with his reactions to B.
A bit, but then she did also say to him, like, look, I don't want you to feel uncomfortable in your own home. Like, you should feel comfortable enough to come and, like, get a cup of tea and have some toast. And if you're
But she
telling me you don't
didn't.
feel comfortable enough,
Yeah,
then,
but what she didn't do was tell, because she found out why B was reacting the way she was to Billy, but she didn't tell Billy that. She said it had been a
oh, yeah, that's
misunderstanding, but she
true.
didn't. She didn't say why B was annoyed with him.
Oh, yeah.
So I,
Yeah.
I I feel like that was something that could have quite helped Billy at that moment, because at the very least he could have tried to explain to B what happened. I mean, to be fair, his thing with Tina, there's no explaining that, it was ridiculous, but
Yeah, weren't it just?
it at least gives him something to work with as to
Yeah.
understand why she's being this way about him. But Honey didn't give him that.
I'd say, could he not figure it out? Because B did say something to Billy like, "Oh, it's the third year anniversary when my partner told me he cheated on me,"
Mm.
and like I wondered whether Billy might have gone, "Oh, she's some out," but it's Billy, isn't it? He won't figure it out unless someone directly tells him. I don't think.
Yeah, was there something to be pulled from that? Because she was
Yeah.
saying that quite a lot this week about this guy that cheated on her.
Ah,
So
that's what she's gonna do then. So she's gonna basically
punish
her
Billy
anger
for that.
towards,
Yeah.
yeah, punish
Mm,
Billy for that, and yeah, use that as. But how she's gonna use his voice, I have got no idea.
no
Or maybe she's
idea.
gonna make, or maybe she's gonna make Honey think that he's cheated on her again with somebody else.
Maybe, maybe.
Perhaps
Yeah.
using his
It's either
voice.
way.
God
It's
knows.
not good news for Billy.
No,
Bring it
it's
on.
not. Bless him.
Bring it
Yeah.
on. Can't wait. Cannot wait. Right, let's move on now to the next story. Right, on to Josh and Patrick now. Some really nice little scenes between them this week, I thought. Some a nice relationship developing between Josh and Patrick. This is working nicely, I think.
Very sweet together,
Mm.
aren't they? Love it actually. Yeah. Makes sense.
Josh, the problem with Josh is that he is adorable. He is really likable.
Yeah.
A lot of the characters are instantly taken to him and are really fond of him on screen. He will be dead by Christmas.
I will literally just say I'll be dead by next year.
Dead
Yep.
by Christmas. I'm telling you now, he's
Mm.
too likable, too nice.
I
something
agree.
bad's going to happen.
It's
Yeah, I
Jasmine,
don't.
in it? Or so,
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, something's
I
gonna
don't predict
definitely
good
go
things for
wrong.
Josh. Bless him. I
No.
really, really don't. But there was this really nice scene where we discover what a LGBT plus ally Patrick is this week.
Yeah, of
Perfect, and of
course.
course he
That
is.
makes sense as well. Why wouldn't
Yeah,
he be, to be fair? Yeah,
I
fine.
totally
Good.
get it with Josh though, because on the face of it, he's not the most sort of manly person, and I can imagine. I didn't look for it
Masculine.
particularly. Yeah, thank you. But I can see that. I bet I didn't go looking for it, but I imagine there was a few people online going, sorry, why is Josh surprised that Patrick doesn't know he's gay and all that kind of thing?" And actually, do you know what? Coming from somebody who was told that they were gay before I'd even worked it out or was ready to verbalize anything myself, it is a moment that you have to go through. And
Yeah,
especially when you've had shit from sort of older generations, as Josh has said that he had, that it would make you nervous to come out to somebody properly like Patrick. So for them to have that moment actually was quite important for Josh as a character, I think. And the way
yeah.
that Patrick reacted to it was absolutely perfect.
I agree. I can see why he would have been having reservations. He didn't
Mm.
know Patrick that well either. And you could argue Josh made an assumption on Patrick, but like you
Yeah,
said, that is based on what he's experienced before. So he did need to get that clarified. Could Denise have said, you know what, he probably already knows Josh, but it were nice. What do you think to her saying to Patrick, just let him have his moment? Or do you
it's
think
right.
that Denise, yeah, you
Because
reckon?
actually, one of the worst things you can say to a young gay guy or young gay woman at that point is to say, "Yeah, obviously, yeah, sorry, we knew already." Because actually, it completely and utterly cheapens and diminishes your feelings about the matter. Because actually, it's quite a big moment for you, and then to be told that, like, well, duh, it kind of makes you kind of feel a bit crap about yourself because it's sort of like, was I just being melodramatic? It is a thing. It is
Yeah,
definitely a
fair.
thing.
All
So
right.
I think that they dealt with it really, really nicely, that scene. To be honest with you, but Patrick is going off to Trinidad. Isaac exists, by the way.
Yeah, he does exist.
I
You
know
know
he
that,
exists. I know
right?
he exists, but like
I know what you're saying.
we're properly talking about Isaac now. Like
Yeah.
I genuinely thought for a bit that we were just going to forget that Isaac ever existed
Mm,
as a character, but he is definitely a thing. He's living in Trinidad. Patrick's going to go and see him, so
yeah.
that's nice. But the thing is, Jasmine's trial is next week,
Yeah.
so this is all going to big time kick off this week.
Yeah, I think it makes more sense that Patrick isn't here for it, actually. Like,
Mm,
realistically, he would not be able to handle it. So,
no,
actually, it
why would you
makes
want to?
sense. Yeah, it makes
Yeah.
sense. If he doesn't need to be present, he's
Mm,
managed to record his statement. So, this statement is for the prosecution, right? This is against Jasmine.
yeah.
This statement is made.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, like you were saying about going forward to the flash forward and Patrick
Mm.
congratulating Oscar for being with a Truman, you were saying you don't think he could forgive Jasmine by that point.
I just don't
Arguably,
see
he
it.
might have a
Yeah.
point if he's still at this point in April.
Did I say that? I'm sure you probably said it. I
I'm
can't
always
imagine that.
right.
I
Reese
can't
always
imagine
right.
that. Yeah, I can't imagine that. Yeah, that I said anything like that. No, no, no. Uh, but yeah,
Yeah.
still at this point, I do not
Mm,
see a universe where Patrick is turning around to Jasmine and saying, "Yeah, no, fair. I forgive you for that." Because yes, the video itself would suggest self-defense, but there is
mm.
also too much going on in Jasmine's background to sort of make
Well,
you instantly trust her, right?
but are we going to find something out about Sandra down the line and what happened
Yeah, I
with
mean,
Jasmine as a
There's a
kid? And that might
big
make him
old
be more
question
forgiving.
mark. Yeah, there's a
Mm,
big old question mark over Sandra. Um, Josh has decided that he wants to go and see Jasmine in prison, which I'm assuming is going to
mm,
happen before the trial. That is a scene I'm very interested in seeing. Actually, these two coming
yeah.
face to face for the first time in
Yeah.
ages. That's going to be interesting.
Well, actually, I had a thought this week that when Josh rang the phone that time and it was Cindy who answered and he went, "It's me, Josh, your brother."
Yeah,
Actually, that wouldn't have been that out of character if they've not
no,
spoken in all that time. For him to
because
go, "It's me, Josh, your brother,"
at the
actually makes
time
sense.
it sort of felt like scriptwriters telling us exactly who it is, and we're just
Yeah,
like, right, brother, right, yeah, got it,
yeah,
thanks, yeah. But actually, given
yeah,
given the context of their relationship,
yeah,
he kind of would have to say that, wouldn't he? So
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
I am very interested to sort of see those two come face
Mm,
to face. I mean, that's irrespective of what's going on with Oscar.
yes, of
Which is
course.
just an added complication on top of the whole thing. Oh, I love Oscar and Josh
I love
together. I think,
Oscar.
yeah,
I just love Oscar, to be
I love
honest.
Oscar to bits, but I'm also really sort of enjoying him and Josh's interplay
Yeah.
on screen. They've got really nice on-screen chemistry together,
Mm.
so that's working really, really nicely. And
Well,
God only knows what chaos is going to unfurl from this
this is it
triangle.
though. I hope they do it right because I love Oscar and I don't mind Oscar with Josh and I even don't mind Oscar with Jasmine
Neither
actually.
do I.
But I don't know if I'd feel the same about Oscar if he ends up having an actual affair
Mm.
with the two twins. Like, I don't know how well that's going to
Yeah,
be
I
received.
mean,
It's a bit icky, isn't it?
it is, but then, I don't think that we can, sit there from all the time that Oscar has arrived and say, oh my God, like he's so Max, like you could totally see Max in him, all that. And then as soon as he does something that's quite Max-like, going, oh, I
Yeah,
don't like
true.
that. I don't like that at all. Like, you're right, it is an icky thing, but Max would do it. And so I feel like
Yeah, he would. If we like two sisters or something, he
yeah,
wouldn't
he'd
think
love that.
twice, would he? Yeah.
That's like the
It's like
ultimate
Jack,
fantasy for
actually.
Max. Yeah, it's like ultimate fantasy for Max, right? And so I feel like if we're applying that to Oscar, like
Yeah, yeah.
we've kind of seen Oscar as sort of like the light-hearted version of Max, right? The good version,
Mm,
the sort of angel and devil version of each other. But this is something that Max would do, and I feel like the way that they're framing this at the minute is that it's going to be that Oscar is just in love with both of them rather than he fancies them both.
yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
So it's
I
not
can
quite
see
as
that.
cheap,
Yeah,
maybe.
definitely. Well, this implies as well that Jasmine's going to get released, right? If there's going to be a triangle,
Yeah.
then surely she's getting
Yeah, so
released.
presumably this footage is gonna be that it's so funny that we saw this video. It's just like that's the most incriminating video I've ever seen in my life. But this is gonna be the thing that gets her out of prison.
Yeah, definitely. It is.
Crazy.
Hmm.
And then thereby it would seem the only people that are really gonna be sort of gunning for Jasmine is obviously Patrick and the Truman side of things, but also Kat, who is we didn't see much of
Mm,
Kat this week, if anything, but we do know that she is kind of concerned about that video, and is the only one who has watched that
yeah.
video and gone, "That's weird. Like, why does she have to kill him?"
Mm.
So
Do you
that's
know
gonna
what? Sorry, I'm going to say something controversial here, right?
you
You know
never, but I
me.
bet
It's never it's
controversial, but
never
right. I
controversial.
bet.
But don't you think they could have done all this storyline with Jasmine and Josh and
Yeah.
not have had them be Zoe's kids?
Oh God, yeah.
It could have all just been around the Trumans
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that
yeah.
Anthony had found out that he'd got these secret kids
Oh,
because
absolutely.
I'm saying this because they are currently focusing on their relationship with the
Mm.
Trumans more so at the moment.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
don't you think this could have all been done without them
Absolutely.
being part of the Slaters, really?
Absolutely, they could have been. Absolutely, they could have
Yeah.
been. Yeah,
So maybe
yeah.
we need to see some more of the Slater interaction on this, to be
Well, I
fair,
mean,
because at the minute it
Josh,
has been
yeah,
Truman heavy.
yeah, and Josh is kind of fully prepared to give Zoe some time. It's not like
Yeah,
Josh is sort of going, do
he's
you
not
know
written her
what?
off.
I've got my mum. I'm all right, thanks. Don't really need
Mm,
you in my life. Like he's prepared to kind of give Zoe some time, prepared to spend time with her. So
hmm.
that's gonna. But then I wonder if when Jasmine gets released, it's going to be interesting to sort of see who Zoe sort of like because she's suddenly got both her kids back in her life. Like how is
Mm.
she going to spread her time between the two of them, especially if they're not getting on?
Well, I think it'll come down to that both twins will think that she's spending more time with the
With
other
the other
one. But
one.
I
Yeah.
actually think that she'll spend more time with Jasmine
Yeah.
because she'll see that Josh has got a mum figure in Sandra and think,
That's
well, who's
already
Jasmine
kind of
got?
happening, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because Jasmine heard that Josh was back on the scene and was really angry about it because that's why
yeah,
Zoe forgot to go and see her in prison or didn't go to
yeah,
see her in prison. And at the same time, when Josh was there, Zoe was far more distracted with what was going on with
yeah,
Jasmine. So
yeah,
already that's happening. So it'll
yeah,
be interesting to
exactly.
sort of see what it's like when all three of them are together on screen and sort of see how that
Mm,
plays out. It's
yeah,
the thing is with this storyline, up to this point, it's kind of been a bit of a trudge at points to get through. But
yeah,
now I'm really on track with it all now, and
yes.
it's starting to get back into motion a bit now, and I'm interested to sort of see how it all plays out.
Yeah, I agree. We just
Mm.
need to find out about Sandra now and that
See,
history, I
she
think.
is the question mark, and I feel
Mm,
like that is going to be the decider of how much of a villain Jasmine actually is.
yeah.
Like, she can be complex, that's fine. I feel like she's pretty complex already,
Hmm.
but it's sort of like this is going to be the decider of her motivations and her MO,
Yes.
and to decide whether we're actually on her side with any of it
Hmm.
or not.
Yeah.
Mm.
And something happened when she was 8. So
Yeah.
what was it that happened? Because that's quite an older age for a kid as well. She'll remember everything.
She will, but then I don't feel like this is going to be because of she's also going to be, I think, too young to have been doing any of this. Oh, I killed my dad and Sandra covered it up and all that kind of thing. Like eight's a bit young for that sort of thing, right? I mean, not
I don't know.
impossible, obviously, not
I don't
impossible,
know.
but I feel like I don't know whether like can you blame an 8 year old? Can you put an 8 year old kid essentially in a villainous role from that point onwards, or
Yeah, it depends on the nature of what happened, I
mm.
guess. We need to find out what happened so that we can understand
Yeah, but I
whether
mean, she's
that.
not Michael Myers, is she? Like,
No,
she's not just sort of decided to kill her dad one day. Like, it would have
no.
been something, it would have been a
Mm.
reaction to something if that is
Yeah.
what
Or a
happened. But
series of events
yeah, yeah,
potentially.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So when we find that out, I think we'll know for definite whether Jasmine's a good egg or a bad egg.
Time will tell. Right, let's move on to the bigger sections of the week now, and we'll start off with talking about Penny. So, Ree's always right, you know. Rob probably came up with some utter shite last week about what was going on with Penny. I must have been like, oh no, obviously it's just Penny and like, I think we're all being melodramatic. Vinny's obviously the dad. Yeah, I'm sure I must have
there's
said
no
something
hint
like that
at anything.
last week. No, I must have said that last week.
Maybe I specifically said Harry, in fairness, Rob. I can't actually. Sorry, we
You're right
talk
so
much about EastEnders in week.
You're
and
right
stuff,
so often. It's hard to remember what
it
exactly
is
the
hard.
specific details, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
So on the face of it, I'm sort of kind of a bit disappointed that it's this and that Vinny isn't the dad, because actually I was quite enjoying the set. I was enjoying the setup. What I would say is that I'm pleased that it didn't come from like an affair, because realistically, up to this point, Penny has actually done nothing wrong, has she?
Yeah.
It's sort of just a miscalculation, and she suddenly found herself in quite a dire situation where she's sort of like, oh God, I've got to sort of break the news. This might not be Vinny. He's got his heart set on it. He's buying me shops and things.
In terms of her relationship, she's not done anything wrong. But actually, like she said this week, she knew that Gina really liked him. So in that respect, she did something wrong in a way.
Girl code and all that kind of thing. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't like that they've done this. I would have much preferred her and Vinny to just keep going on, them trying to navigate the new relationship with the baby and everything, but obviously that's not to be, is it?
What this does do is suddenly put New Year's Day in a different perspective, though, doesn't it? Because we were sort of trying to work out, how would Suki have allowed like Vinny's baby?
I knew it. See, I were right.
Oh, you always are, Ray. You always are. And now putting it in this perspective, it's sort of. But then at the same time, if we put it on that boot, I don't think Nicola would allow that either. To be fair.
Yeah, she's sitting just chilling in Queen Vic with
George on that day. Yeah, she's not bothered. She's got a broken ankle, so she must have been like, "Oh, you could look after my ankle."
Well, maybe though, she's got her daughter to look after. Maybe she is like, "Well, Jack, you know," or maybe she's having a break at the Vic and she's just given baby Ethan to Jack for an hour to be like, "Well, I'm having a break."
The inclination I got from New Year's Day was that Jack is very much the sole carer of Ethan at that moment. Yeah, so there's still questions. It doesn't bode well for Penny though. It doesn't bode well for Penny though, does it?
No, which is a shame because I'm really enjoying Penny.
Really enjoying Penny. Like now she's actually getting a storyline finally, because it seems like she's done nothing since she arrived, essentially. Like she had that great story when she entered, when she was doing the whole drug dealing thing. And then she's had not that much screen time since then, to be fair. And this is like the biggest story she's had since she first arrived.
Yeah.
And it's looking like this is leading to her exit at some point in the proceedings, right?
But it doesn't mean it's an exit. It could be that she's in hospital. And that Jack's looking after the baby.
Yeah. But hopefully. I mean, just the way that Jack is acting, it looks like he's in grieving mode, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it could be that she's seriously ill in hospital. It'd still be that concerned, wouldn't it? So it doesn't mean that she has necessarily died. It looks like it, but it may be that she's very
I hope it's a red herring.
In hospital.
Yeah, I hope it's a red herring. Yeah. I really, really do.
Or maybe the guilt gets to Penny and she's like, got postnatal depression or something. Could be something like that.
There's possibilities. I mean, certainly I feel like, you know, the whole point of the New Year's Day episode was to sort of tease us and to sort of, and there was maybe going to be elements of it that was supposed to lead us down one path, and it'll turn out to be something quite different. So I hope that that's what this is, because I really don't want Penny to leave, because I really like Penny and she's working really, really nicely at the moment. So it would be a shame. And this week especially, I think, has shown that she bounces off certain characters really nicely. Like her and Nicola is a thing that can kind of keep going. And I tell you what else we got this week, little crumbs, and I feel like it could build into something from the circumstances of this story, is Suki versus Nicola.
Yes, I loved that little bit. Yeah, definitely.
That was like 100%. The smallest of little scenes where they were at each other, but at the same time, like, bearing in mind where this story could be going, it feels like those two could butt heads on more than one occasion. That would be kind of quite spectacular, because actually on the face of it, Nicola and Suki are kind of quite similar sort of characters, aren't they?
Yes, but I feel like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I feel like Nicola is more brutal than Suki.
Yeah, mad, isn't it, that we finally meet. I feel like, if anything, perhaps being with Eva softened Suki a little bit.
Yes, yeah.
To the point where now Suki will do something bad, And the Suki fans were sort of like, well, I thought we'd moved on from this. Suki's developed as a character since then. And it's sort of like, you can't completely delete that side of a character.
erase an
Just
entire
because she's in
character's
a really
history.
nice relationship that's really nice to watch and everything doesn't mean that Suki isn't capable of that sort of behavior. And Suki versus Nicola is actually something that would be really interesting to watch unfurl if it's happening.
How do you think that'd go about though? Because they can't argue over the
The
grandkid.
grandma
Because
wars.
surely
Well, it's going to be one or the
it's going
other,
to be one
isn't
or
it?
the other. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that can't initiate a war, really. I'm trying to think what else it could be, like
But then,
business type thing. Or...
well, I've always thought that this is the thing, right? Sarah Phelps, who was a writer for EastEnders a while and has gone on to do like all sorts of amazing writing since then. She did an interview on Lacey Turner's podcast recently where she said something along the lines of, the ideal EastEnders scene for me is a bleach blonde woman storming into someone's house, banging a bottle of gin or something on the table, lighting a ciggy and saying, right, me and you, let's have this out. And that is Nicola down to a T, isn't it?
Yeah,
And you could
definitely.
totally imagine her doing that with Suki, like just
Yeah.
storming into Suki's house. And Suki's reaction to that would be great as well, because she wouldn't go, "Oh, what are you doing in my house?" or anything like that. Like she'd be like, "Yeah, right, let's sit down, let's do this."
She'd be like, make it brandy and we'll
Yeah,
talk.
exactly. Like so,
Yeah.
together, I think they're they could be a really good sort of pair that hate
Well,
each other. We haven't got that many long-term feuds going
or
on at the minute.
they could have they could have the odd little jibe, on
Mm.
the square, and then when they both maybe realise the truth with Penny, they could actually come together to try and
Mm.
make Penny.
Not much fun,
Although
though, is
I
it?
feel like no, it's not, but I feel like we're past that anyway. I think Penny is just going to go and get a DNA test, and it'll be Harry's, and she's going to keep it secret.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. She
Fine.
seems to sort of not be entirely sure. She goes to her first scan this week and discovers that she's further gone than she thought she was.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then that means that the other person that she slept with before Vinny, which was Harry, on the day he went to detox, which I think is a crazy thing. But
Told you. See,
yeah,
that's what it was. Told you.
Ree is always right on my tits.
Yeah.
Is always where we're going with this. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that's mad that happened, but it did happen. But does that kind of cement it? Is it Harry's then, or is she? Because
Well, she said
she doesn't seem altogether sure. Because surely she doesn't need to take a DNA test if she's like, oh God, yeah, it's Harry's then. Like she doesn't seem 100% set on it yet.
Well, she said that she used protection with Harry and not with Vinny.
That's a mad thing, isn't it? Like that goes against everything that is supposed to happen with soap contraception, right? Like you never ever use a condom, except in this circumstance where you did use a condom with Harry and you're pregnant from that, but you didn't use a condom with Vinny and you're not pregnant from him. That's craziness.
Well, she would have already been pregnant, I guess, technically,
That's
from Harry.
true,
But yeah.
Do you know what I mean, though? That's like,
I don't know though, because you could. I mean, it does happen, doesn't it? So I guess it is somewhat realistic.
yeah, condoms aren't 100% sort of, reliable with that sort of thing, but that's mad that they bothered to even mention the fact that they used a condom. And because condoms are just not a thing in soaps, are they?
I
Like
think
nobody uses contraception.
But I think it's to show like there wasn't any doubt in Penny's mind that it was Vinny's, because it is a very reasonable conclusion to come to based on what she said. But yeah, it's definitely going to be Harry's. Come on. And then, or is it like, Suki was like, if she crosses my boy, I'll kill her. Or was that a red herring that they threw in last week when she said that? So is that what it's going to be?
But then this is the other thing as well. Is it going to be that Nicola, when she discovers that it's actually Harry's, is she going to then, by association with the fact that this is now her grandkid, going to become quite protective of Penny, and thereby Suki's going to be against her? So that would mean a war happening between them that way, possibly.
It depends on if Nicola, I know what you're saying, and Nicola will not actually say the real truth as to why there's a war going on, because Suki obviously wouldn't know. But is Penny going to tell Nicola? Is Nicola going to have enough on a plate at
Well,
anyway?
I mean, would you at the minute?
No, not at the minute, but maybe down the line, yeah.
I mean, irrespective of what Nicola went through this week, like, would you tell Nicola the truth? Like, or would you not just, like, you'd fake a DNA test, wouldn't you? To get Nicola off your back.
There is that, isn't there? What did you think about Oscar's advice anyway this week?
I mean, Oscar, bless him. I mean, I love Oscar to bits, but if I was Penny, I wouldn't be trusting Oscar with this information. Oscar's sort of like, no, don't tell him. And if it comes to it, get the fake tan out. It'll be all right.
Well, I just thought, why are you listening to Oscar? Like, why would you listen to anything that Oscar says anyway?
Like, Oscar had to be told this week that there's going to be quite a visual clue when this baby's born.
I mean, that is valid as well. So how far does Penny think that she can go with
exactly. Like, she's going to have to find out one way or the other quite soon, which she does come to that conclusion
Also,
this
Oscar
week.
did have a point that, like dual
Yeah.
heritage, like mixed heritage
Oh
kids
yeah,
can look one
you
way or the
don't
other.
know. Yeah.
My daughter does not look like my ethnicity
No,
at all. She definitely
no,
took after
she
her dad.
doesn't.
So that is a thing. So you could argue that, I guess. But I also think it'd be pretty obvious
Yeah,
in this
yeah.
particular
Oh, I think so. Of course it
circumstance.
was.
But
It's
then
just,
again,
yeah.
babies never look like the dad in soaps, do they? Because then that'd be too easy
Can
to.
I just say, this week, I think it was this week, with the baby scan photos, Oscar was completely on my side, where he's looking at the baby scan. It doesn't even look like a baby. Like, what are you talking about? You know what I always say about baby scan photos? Oscar was
It
sort of like,
baffles me.
what is this? It's just like, how
Well, do
can
you
you
know
tell?
what's
Where is the head?
Well, I actually showed my daughter, right, who's nearly 4, a
Mm,
picture of my friend who's pregnant.
mm.
And I showed her baby scan picture and said, "Oh, look, this is such and such as a baby. Can you see it?" And she pointed every single bit out.
It's female intuition, I think, isn't it? Must be.
Do you
I
think?
think it must be.
She
Yeah.
knew straight away. And I bet if I showed it you, you'd be like, "What baby? Is
Oh
that
yeah.
even a
Why are you showing me a
baby? Is that a
picture of
sandwich?
pixels?
Why are
Yeah,
you showing me a
literally.
sandwich that she had
Yeah.
yesterday?"
Why are you showing me a picture of an X-ray?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, literally. But and also I'm kind of with Oscar on the whole sort of like ignoring like the potential problems down the line. I am kind of also with Oscar at sort of like, like just don't say anything. Like it'll be all right.
Such bad
Like
advice.
I
I'm
know
never
it
coming to
is.
you for advice then
Not
either
with
if
this
you
sort of
agree with
thing.
Oscar.
Not with this sort of thing, no. But yeah, it's a big problem for Penny. Possibly solved this week by kind of what happens with Nicola, but that does sort of push her into the idea of, yeah, I do need to get a DNA test sorted. Well, Christ knows how she's going to get this DNA, but
Well, she has this sensitive chat, doesn't she, with Harry? And then that makes, oh, God, he'd be a good dad as well. What have I done?
well, I mean, they were kind of pushing that all this week as well because Gina made it quite kind of cement clear that she didn't
Mm,
want kids.
yeah, which is interesting, but okay. Yeah,
Well,
fair enough.
I don't see, there's no, women don't have to have kids, do
Oh,
they?
no, no, I agree with that. It's just the fact that for me, it's really obvious that Harry does, given what happened to
Mm.
Shireen. So,
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
do you really pursue a relationship where you're not on the same page? That's what I'm saying with it. Like, would
Well, I
that not
mean,
be a,
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I
I don't
think,
know, they're young, aren't they,
well, they
like
did. Well,
Nicola
this is the
said.
thing, and I think that's actually a kind of thing that was mentioned this week. Was like the
Mm,
conversation between him and Nicola was sort of like, well, it's early days, so
true, true.
anything's possible. And I did love that him and Nicola are now at a point where it's sort of like he can turn around to Nicola and say, well, kids were on the agenda at one point, weren't they, Mum? Do you remember Shireen? And then they just
Mm.
move on from it. That's mad considering what Nicola actually did.
Yes, but also does that lead for this storyline to go down another route where he's going to be mad that Nicola knew about, the potential that Harry was the father? Although why
Yeah.
Harry's not questioned it himself? Did he just go,
Oh,
well, we
come on,
used
it's
someone, so it's
Harry.
definitely not mine?
Oh, come on, it's Harry, bless him. He's not going to question
True,
big
if
things
Penny
like
didn't
that.
think it, then
No,
yeah, fair enough.
Harry's one of these. Bless him. He needs stuff kind of handed to him on a plate sometimes,
Yeah,
doesn't he?
yeah,
Doesn't he?
true.
I mean, the one person that's going to be really sort of heartbroken through all of this is Vinny,
Mm,
who's
yeah.
he's buying shops and is like really really excited and he's planning for the future and
Hmm.
he's doing it all and it's just going to go very very badly for him, isn't it?
Yeah, which is what makes me think it's that quote of Suki's that if she crosses my son, that's it. What did she say? Like, she'll be a dead woman.
Oh yeah, yeah, it was like the quite extreme thing to say. But then, is that is that trying to sort of kind of push us further down the path of Penny's going to be dead by New Year's Day?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, exactly.
It could be that, but
I was quite impressed that Priya decided to give Vinny this like antique that's in the family and not save it for herself. That felt very
mm.
un-Priya-like, to be honest.
Yeah,
But
it was
okay,
quite good
fair
advice,
enough.
quite fair from Priya.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do feel for Penny because this is a terrible situation she suddenly found herself in, isn't it? Like, yes. There's the kind of quite much smaller issue is that she slept with
Mm.
Harry when Gina kind of quite liked him.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's not like, she slept with Harry when Gina and Harry were together.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It's not
it's
like
not
any cheating specifically went
no,
on
I
when it
feel like
happened.
it's forgivable, but I feel like,
Yeah.
it's not the biggest problem that she's got at the moment, is it really?
No, but when will they learn that the truth will always come out? So
It
just tell
always
the
comes out.
truth,
It'll
Penny.
always come out. So we're saying that it's definitely Harry's then. This is
Yeah.
otherwise they wouldn't have brought all of this
What's
up, would
point
they? It's definitely yeah,
otherwise?
it's definitely
Yeah.
Harry's then. So she's now got to try and get DNA from Harry and Vinny
Well,
presumably. Oh
one
no,
or
she
the
only
other,
needs it from
because I
one of
guess
them,
you
doesn't
can
say?
eliminate. Yeah.
Yeah, but then how is she going to do that? Like, Nicola presumably would try and help if she wasn't sort of busy doing other stuff elsewhere, which we'll discuss in a minute. So how is she going to get DNA from
Oh
either of
well,
them at this stage?
remember what Sharon did with toothbrush
The
with
toothbrush, but that didn't
Keanu and
work, did
Phil, and
it?
that didn't work.
That didn't
Got wrong
work.
toothbrush. Oh
Yeah, that
god,
didn't work.
it turns
So
out. I was thinking maybe if her and Vinny like are living together or sharing a bed when he's asleep, just whack a cotton bud in his gob while he's
yeah, it's
asleep.
not
I
like she
don't
can
know.
pluck hairs from Harry's head, is it?
No,
So she,
no.
she might have to
It'll
do it
have to
with
be
Vinny.
Vinny that she gets it from, I think,
Mm,
and then it'd be a
yeah.
process elimination, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Oh
Mm,
God. So yeah, that's all going to get very, very messy for Penny. So we'll sort of see how that develops next week. But yeah, some really good stuff with Penny. I'm really liking her at the
yeah,
moment. She's great.
yeah,
She really Kitty Castledine is doing a really good job at the minute with that. And
yeah.
I'm hoping that this isn't leading to her exit because she's a good character and I'm enjoying her a lot. Right. So let's move on to the other aspect of sort of what was the whole picture of this storyline this week, and this is Nicola and George. So, Nicola and George. So, if it wasn't enough for Nicola to be sort of bullying Penny into getting this DNA and being sort of sinister Nicola, like she was this week, we had proper sort of hardcore Nicola back this week with Penny. But if that wasn't enough, she has had a few twinges and a few pains. She's spoken about, false labour and all of that kind of thing. I mean, limited as my knowledge is about pregnancy and all the different
Mhm.
stages of it, when you're on your knees, kind of gasping in pain and like,
Oh, it's about false labour now.
yeah, I feel like that's maybe something a little bit more than false labour. Braxton Hicks, is that the sort of where it goes? Is
Yes,
that the
that's what
term for
it's
that?
called. Yeah, yeah. Well done, Rob. Well
Thank
done.
you.
I mean, I kind of understand why Nicola will be like, yeah, this is fine.
It's
It's
fine.
false labour because obviously it's so early. She didn't want to admit like
Yeah,
this
I
means
mean, if
it's
you're saying, well, sorry, you went through this with both other pregnancies with Harry and Barney as well, did you? This was what this
mm,
happened last time, did it? I don't think
yeah.
it did, Nicola, love.
I know, bless
Yes.
her. I think she was just in denial though, weren't
I
she,
think
as well?
so. I think so.
Mm,
Because she does this thing where it's sort of like, no, everything's fine. I'm absolutely fine. Leave me alone.
mhm.
No, I don't need to go to a hospital. Everything will be absolutely fine. Despite the fact that at one point she was worried that she hadn't felt the baby move all day.
Yeah.
That's never a good. Now the baby is that like how constant is the kicking when you're pregnant? Like, is it?
So you have your norm. They say that you get to a point where you know what your normal is, and
Right.
and if
Okay.
your normal's
It
basically not
varies.
happened, yeah. So like I'm trying to remember when mine was. I think mine was like first thing in the morning and evening kind of thing. But then they'll tell you certain things like one of my friends who were pregnant at the same time as me, she used to have a can of sugary Coke, and
Mm.
then the baby would start kicking
Like
again. So
line
there's
dancing for
like
the rest of the day. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's certain things that you can do,
Mm.
and then if that doesn't happen, like I think I went into hospital twice when I felt like my movements had not been as much,
Okay.
and you just get monitored, and then
Mm.
they like put this big band across your tummy and like monitor movements themselves.
Mm.
So that in itself, depending on how worried you are, they always say to you, if your movements haven't been your normal,
Mm.
go and get checked.
Yeah.
So yeah, she was right to go and get checked
Yeah.
when that happened. But then obviously she has the argument with Penny, gets all these pains, and she's like, "Oh, I'm fine. Don't worry about
Everything's fine. Some nonsense. I'm absolutely
yeah,
fine. Yeah,
yeah."
yeah,
I wouldn't have thought that's when she should have got checked, I think.
yeah. That should have been
Mm.
when she went to hospital, and apparently stayed in hospital from that point onwards,
Yes,
didn't
I
she?
would say so.
Because what it turns out she has is a ruptured
Placental abruption.
placenta or ruptured placenta. I think is the same.
Yes, the same
Like,
thing. Yeah.
yes,
Rob, you
yes.
had it before. You could have said that
I
placental
don't
abruption,
need a
ruptured
woman's opinion on
placenta.
this. I know about it all.
You know it all, don't you?
I know it all. No.
So, a placental abruption is
Yes.
when the placenta essentially breaks away from the
Ruptures.
uterus, which is
Yeah.
not good. Yeah. It's not actually really a rupture, I wouldn't say. It's like it comes away from the uterine lining, which
Right.
means that you then get bleeding, which is obviously what happened to Nicola.
Yeah.
It
Yeah. Yeah.
means the baby can't get the oxygen it needs because obviously the placenta is like a new organ that you grow when you're pregnant,
Yeah.
which is where the baby gets everything from.
It's a sort of
So that
protective lining
basically
around the baby, isn't it? Like that's what it's for.
it's like, well,
Yeah.
it's its own organ. It's like a
Oh,
big
okay.
thing, isn't it? The placenta.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because you give birth to that as well. They have to remove. You either give birth to that just after if you've had a natural birth, or they'll remove it during a C-section. So basically, if that's come away from the uterine lining, which is what's happened to Nicola, like
Yeah.
the baby can't get its nutrients, can't get its oxygen, the placenta, it needs to be there so that the placenta can do its job, which
Hmm.
is obviously what's happened with Nicola, which is incredibly serious, especially at
Yes.
what, 31 weeks did they say she
Yeah. So
was?
how early is this? Like, this is a couple of months or 6 weeks or
Well, yeah, about 6 weeks because they say, look at me, I'm like a pregnancy knowledge
the
person.
expert over here. Yeah.
37 weeks is classed as full term, but it's anything between like 37 to 40
Right.
weeks.
So how early is dangerous early?
I mean, this is dangerous early.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
37
But
weeks
like,
onwards is the only time that's
all right. So even
not
36,
dangerous.
even 36 weeks will worry us then.
Arguably,
Okay.
yeah, I would say
Okay.
so.
All right
Obviously,
then.
everything's a bit different, but yeah, I would say even
Okay.
36 weeks they'd be concerned. Um, But a lot happens in the final trimester. Like, I didn't realise, well, I did when I was pregnant, but
Well,
that's when the
obviously.
baby does the majority of the growing. They can like double in size, I
Well,
think, in the
yes, because
last
I
trimester.
remember with you, you were sending me
Yeah,
pictures, and it's sort of like we don't look that pregnant, and all of a sudden, the
yeah.
last trimester, you were sort of you ballooned outwards, bless you, didn't you?
Literally,
Like,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like, oh,
yeah,
you are
yeah.
pregnant, so good.
Yes, told you there was a baby in there, Ron.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So yeah, I think obviously they say what the baby's £2 something, which
yeah.
is
That's nothing, is
very
it? Like,
so
that's
small.
about, yeah.
So yeah, I think at 37, because at 37 weeks you could be anything £6 onwards, can't you really?
Mm.
So it's very worrying and
Yeah,
needing a little incubator, bless it. Obviously, I don't know much about the NICU side of things when they're in an incubator, but
yeah. Well, baby Ivy is not out of the woods yet by any stretch
yes.
of the imagination, is she? So this is kind of quite
No.
a critical time for her.
Hmm.
Um, Ivy, by the way, for the baby's name, I did a little bit of Googling about this.
Oh,
Apparently,
did you?
Ivy, I did. Apparently, Ivy was one of the most common female names last year.
Yeah, I can see.
I
Yeah,
didn't realise
Ivy.
this. I thought it was quite an old-fashioned name, and I was sort of surprised that they went there with
Oh,
the
Rob,
name.
all the
But
old-fashioned
it's
names are in.
coming
Like
back.
Arthur's one of the top names for kids.
Really?
Arthur,
Wow.
Archie, George, Fred. They're all
Wow.
the top
All
like
soap
boy
name
names and
characters.
stuff. Yeah,
Brilliant.
listed
Yeah.
them all off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lovely name as well. Do you think what
Ivy's
is the
nice, yeah.
surname going to be? Do you think she's going to stick with Mitchell even though she's like
I
separated
mean,
from
I'd like to
Teddy?
see. I would. Let's be real here. I would like to see George win this. I don't think he's. It's definitely not going to be Ivy Knight. I'll tell you that for free.
Ivy Mitchell now. But I don't know whether she'd pick Mitchell, but maybe she wants it to be the same as
I think she's quite proud of the Mitchell
Harry
name
and
because
Barney.
because
Yeah.
she's. It's not like her and Teddy ended on bad terms necessarily, is it? Like she
No.
still clearly quite loves Teddy, so I don't feel like she would want to lose the
Oh, do
Mitchell
you
name.
think? I think she's over Teddy now. Are you joking?
No, I don't think
Nah.
she. Not to say, but she wants to lose the Mitchell name. I don't think.
Yeah, fair enough. So maybe it's Ivy Mitchell.
Yeah, my mum
Yeah.
divorced from her dad from her dad. No, my mum divorced from my dad about 30
Yeah.
years ago, and she still
Yeah.
kept his name.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Same with my
it's a thing.
nan.
It's a
Yeah,
thing.
fair enough. So it might be an
Um,
Ivy Mitchell. Yeah.
yeah. Laura Doddington, stunning this
Oh,
week. I thought great performance from her. I mean, we knew the second that it was going to be announced. This
yeah.
was announced. It was sort of like everyone sit down. Laura's got this.
Yeah. Her range is incredible.
Yeah.
She goes literally from a hard nut to the softest,
Mm.
most vulnerable mum within
But putting hard nut into the
seconds.
soft side of her as well.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
easy, is it? And
No,
she
it's
manages that
not.
totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even when
Really good.
George is trying to comfort her, he's doing it at arm's length, isn't he? Because he's sort of
Yeah.
like, she could kick
Yeah.
off, but I'll try
Yeah.
and be as
Still remember
supportive
it's
as I can
Nicola.
be. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I like their dynamic, but I'm actually surprised that they're still together so happily at New Year's because I could see them potentially having some issues. George is very mindful of her, but I don't feel
Mm,
like she returns that to George or that she necessarily will down the line.
mm.
So I don't know if they'll end up having a bit of an imbalance. I feel like George is quite accommodating to Nicola's side.
Well,
But
they're
then
an
again,
interesting
is there
pairing,
anything
aren't
that she
they?
needs to be accommodating towards with George, I
Not
guess?
really. I mean, they're an interesting pairing. I mean, possibly his taste in restaurant names might be an issue between the two of them. Night Fusion.
Sure.
What does that mean? What
Is
does
it because it's like a family business? So he's trying
I
to
get the night part. I wasn't trying to work out whether it was a
like
pun.
fusing the family together. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I wasn't sure. I didn't know whether it meant like fusing like the type of food that they were going to be serving
Mm. It's
Like,
all, is it Ghanaian? It's all Ghanaian, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
But I was just wasn't sure about the.
Maybe
I
it's a
was trying to work
fusion
out
of
whether it was a
like
pun.
cultures. Is it a fusion of
Yeah,
cultures? Maybe that's what
possibly,
he's
yeah.
gone for.
But then night fusion, I was sort of, I didn't know whether it was a pun or whether it was a play on words or anything like that. But it's
Well,
sort of
if it
just
is, it's gone way over
way
both
over
our
our
heads.
heads. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so baby Ivy is in a critical condition at the
Mhm.
moment, and I feel like Nicola is going to sort of take some repairing as well because she's had to have
Yeah,
an emergency cesarean, which is never great, is it?
yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
it's
it's
going to be.
bad the fact that because normally with a cesarean, they kind of numb you, but you're still awake. But the fact
Yeah,
that they had to actually put her under general anaesthetic, so
yeah, that's
she wasn't awake for the birth.
no.
That'll do something to Nicola,
Oh,
like guarantee.
psychologically, like this is
Yeah.
actually kind of presumably going to quite easily lead into
Mm,
someone having postnatal depression because like she even mentioned, she didn't get her skin to skin contact with the
mhm.
baby, which is really important. First off,
Yeah.
even I know that.
Yeah. But
So,
then I think that might be quite normal in these scenarios, like, obviously
oh
when
yeah,
they're
but
this premature.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, completely. But it doesn't take. It might be normal,
Yeah.
but it doesn't stop like the mother
Yeah.
feeling that absence instantly, does it?
Yeah.
Because you need to
Yeah.
have that sort of contact
Mm,
straight away. Um, and yeah, so it's going to be sort of interesting to sort of see how Nicola reacts to this.
mm.
How do you feel like this might sort of impact the Penny storyline? Because is Nicola going to sort of like not be that interested in this for a bit, or is she gonna, or is this gonna fuel her on, or how do you think she's
I
gonna react to
think
it?
I think for a while she'll just not even think about it, if I'm honest, and it'll probably be at the back of her mind and she'll put all her focus into Ivy. But then I think she'll have these moments where she sees Harry looking after his sister and see that he's
Mm,
really paternal.
yeah.
And that might be when she goes, "Come on, Penny. Like, you need to do
I
something about this."
wonder if Penny is going to look at Nicola quite distracted and think a fake DNA test would be an absolutely brilliant thing to add to her right now.
I wouldn't be surprised, to be fair, if she'd do that. But then, well, how we've left it this week was that Penny was like, "I need to find out,"
Yeah,
but
she
that
needs
doesn't
to find
necessarily.
out, but she
Yeah.
realizes the fire that's coming if this is actually
Mm.
Harry's baby. So I'm like, you're left with the. I think Penny was left with the situation. This was like, who do I want for my grandmother
Yeah.
for the baby, Suki or
Yeah.
Nicola?
Who do I want to be my mother-in-law, kind of,
Yeah,
as well?
like
Yeah.
neither are ideal, really, are they? For
No.
Penny, I don't
I
think.
think we're going to have a lot of moments with Penny over the next few weeks of seeing Harry being so loving towards his sister and talking so nicely about his little sister.
Mm,
And then we'll have these moments where she's like, "Right, that's it, I'm going to tell Vinny." And then Vinny will do something so nice that I
so
can't possibly
sweet,
tell him. I
yeah,
can't break his heart. And it's just going
yeah.
to be that all the way up until she gives birth, probably.
He's like a little puppy dog, isn't he, Vinny? Like you
Yeah.
just don't want to kick him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yes, I feel like it's going to be a tricky few weeks now for Nicola and George.
Hmm.
And I feel like this is going to really test them as a couple as well.
Yes. Which shows, like I say, the fact that they're sitting so nicely together on New Year's Day. They
Mm.
obviously are a good
Yeah,
pairing, it would
and
seem.
yeah, and now does this? I mean, all fine with Ivy by New Year's Eve, by New Year's Day? Do we think?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah, because yeah,
Yeah,
surely,
I
right?
think so.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah, I
I
think
reckon
so. But
Harry
then
will
where?
probably be
But
babysitting. But
then
then
where
if
was
Harry's found
Ivy?
out baby Ethan is
Yeah,
his, would he be babysitting his
where is
sister and
Ivy? New
son?
Year's Day is my question.
Well, Gina could easily just be looking after her there for an hour,
She
easily,
could. She
because that's a
could.
sister, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
a
she
little
could
sister.
because we didn't see Jean on New Year's Day, I don't think. So
No,
yeah,
we
she
didn't.
could. But I'm
Mm.
sort of just like it's
Or
these are the sorts of
Barney. Oh, maybe
questions.
not
These are the
Barney,
sorts
but
of questions you've got when
yeah,
you've got this sort of setup where
yeah.
you're like sort of analysing all the different
Mm.
scenes. I feel like we need to have a rewatch of the New Year's Day about halfway through the
Yes,
year.
we should actually, or
Yeah.
even now, to be
Or even
fair.
now,
Yeah,
just to sort of
if
check in
someone,
and see where, because if
yeah.
if they're saying that we've got all of this planned out, so
Mm.
we know exactly what's happening, then I feel like we need to kind of like be referring back to that episode, like anything we might have
Maybe
missed,
we
because obviously we
theorized.
were quite tuned into everything that was going on
Yeah,
with Max at the time, but there was other
yeah,
stuff in there as well that I feel like we
yeah.
need to sort of keep an eye on.
Well, at one point, I remember us theorizing that um, George and Nicola have actually got the Queen Vic, so maybe she's asleep
Yeah,
upstairs, for all we
could be,
know.
because there was nobody Slater-wise in the pub that day, was there?
I think
So.
Tracy was there, wasn't
That
she? We
Tracy will
need
be
to.
there.
We're gonna rewatch it before
Tracy's like
next
the
week, aren't we,
cockroach of
Rob?
Albert Square. Like she will be there even if for
Yeah,
a nuclear attack. Like
yeah,
Tracy
yeah.
will be there serving pints in the Vic. It'll be fine.
Yes,
Yeah.
everything will carry on. Keep calm and carry on,
Keep Carm
Tracy
and Tracy
says.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, but some really, really strong stuff with that this week. I thought Nicola and George. I see for me, I thought this sold Nicola and George to me as a couple a bit this week
Yeah.
because it was sort of like we haven't seen a huge amount of them, and it's been one of those setups where they've sort of fallen in with each other
Mm.
rather than realised how like
Yeah.
insanely attracted. They, oh my God, I need to be with you forever.
Yeah.
There was, I mean, we forgot to mention the Ian and Elaine scenes that kind of followed this
Yes.
week, and I feel like Elaine's reaction to George very much sort of fueled on where we are with Ian and Elaine now.
Oh, don't. Come on.
Oh, come on! I
Here we
mean,
go.
this week showed that that's where they're going, right?
Yeah, obviously. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, sure, right, okay, we're there then. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I,
Elaine's over George. I think we're meant to assume as
no,
well.
I very much the opposite. I don't think
Oh,
Elaine's
did
like,
you?
oh, of course,
Oh,
Elaine's not over George whatsoever.
oh
Because
God,
like
I thought the opposite.
No, because George said to Elaine this week, because George is allowing Elaine to use night fusion
Yeah,
for the campaign that she's doing, because this whole thing is still going on with the
yeah.
campaigning stuff. And he even said to Elaine, because I know that me and you are like completely history done and dusted, and there was a
Mm,
moment with Elaine where she looked quite kind of upset by that. So I feel like this is a
yeah.
reaction to that, was why she's suddenly looking at Ian and going, maybe.
But well, I don't see it as she's necessarily upset over George. I think she's more upset about what the relationship like represented, and she thought she'd found her one that she was gonna like her companion for the rest of
Maybe,
her
yeah.
life, rather than that she's still maybe got feelings for George. It's more the end of an era, maybe, rather
Oh,
than
but she did also have that moment a few weeks ago where she thought that George was going to ask her to get back together again.
yeah, there was that, and I don't know though, because it got so complicated between the pair of them. I don't think that she ever would go back. Mind you, like you said, that
I
she
don't
did
know.
think she did misinterpret that date,
Yeah,
didn't she,
and she
that
wanted it.
time?
She wanted it. She,
Mm.
if he'd have said that to her, then she'd have said yes, right?
Yeah, true, true.
So I feel like any feelings that she's got towards Ian. I mean, this is sort of like the curse of Ian Beale, is that women are going to kind of get
These
someone like Elaine.
unlikely, yeah.
Yeah, she's going to get these sorts of things where like people will go, I guess Ian's an option. So
No else around.
and to be fair, I think Ian is almost in that category himself, where he's sort of like he's been screwed around by that many women
Mm.
that he's sort of like, yeah, I guess Elaine's fine. So it's one of those situations that's kind of happened that way. I think I don't mind Ian and Elaine together. I'm not going to lie to you. I think it's fine.
I'm just a bit disappointed because you'd never put them together. And for me, it's a bit of like, who's single on the square? Let's put some names in a hat. Right, Ian and Elaine next. That's how I feel. Maybe I'll change my opinion.
Oh, I
Did I
doubt you'll be
mind them
wrong.
having
I
a
doubt you'll be wrong. That
Did
won't
I mind them
happen.
having a drink together and having a bit of a laugh? No, but do I think that they would gel as two sober people in an actual relationship? No. But there we go. They're
Hey,
obviously going to. So
we thought that about Cat and Phil.
I know we did. I know. And like then I was gutted when they split up. And
Yeah.
actually, dare say I wouldn't mind if they did get back together. But there we go. Even
So
now,
I don't know. Time will tell, I
stranger
guess.
things have happened.
Exactly. Gold star this week, Ray.
It's got to go to Nicola for me.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
definitely Nicola.
I think Nicola and Penny. I think for the gold
Yeah,
stars this
that's
week.
who I
Yeah,
was between.
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. So Nicola and Penny for gold stars this week. Let us know who your gold stars are going to, and we will finish the podcast as usual with some comments from you.
We've got a comment here from Al Sunshine who says, while yes, Nicola is a villain who killed Shireen, I still felt so badly for her and the baby today. The hospital needed to send a mental health professional in to sit with Nicola. She was clearly in shock and more than likely dealing with postpartum depression.
Yes, I do wonder if that's maybe going to be an aspect of what happens next week, because obviously
Yeah.
they've said that they've consulted with Bliss, the charity, which is sort of like monitors this sort of thing. So it's
Mm,
going to be interesting to sort of see the impact it has on Nicola
yeah.
outside of the thing between
Yeah.
her and George. Yeah.
They do say that like traumatic birth experiences
Yeah.
like significantly increase the risk of postnatal depression as well.
Oh
So I
yeah,
wouldn't be
yeah.
surprised if they go down
I
that
have
route.
I've got people in my life that have been through
Mm,
traumatic births, and this was
yeah.
something that was a big impact on them. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's for sure it's a thing. So it'll be interesting to sort of see if they do anything with that next week, or whether it's just going to be sort of focused on
And
Nicola and George, or
yeah, and
what.
how George would handle it as well, because Nicola didn't even want to admit that there was something wrong whilst she was like
Yeah,
on the floor in agony. So
yeah.
that'd be a whole other thing as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Kathy Vernon Kettner has said, I don't want to see Ian and Elaine have an affair. Instead, their situation could be written unclear or vague, get everyone wondering, talking about it. This way, Ian and Elaine's storyline together could last longer and grow some roots. Linda walking in on their little date and giving some side-eye as Ian grinned and excused himself from the room was delivered delightfully and funny. These two actors can pull it off. They're great, and I really enjoyed them in this episode.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. I did like the little moments that they had where they were like nodding
Well,
in. Oh,
what I would say is Deborah Watford has said Rob was right about Ian and Elaine. I assume that's a typo and she meant to put re. Is
I
the only
would
thing
assume that
I
as
would
well,
assume
to be
so.
fair, Rob.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
must be. I'm assuming that's a typo.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I don't mind Ian and Elaine together. I sometimes don't mind these couples that are sort of like they find themselves sort of put together, and it's sort of like
Like
it
Phil
shouldn't
and
work.
Julie will end up happening.
That's it. That does work though. I think. I think.
Yeah, better than this, but yeah, okay.
See, the
I
thing is, I
didn't,
don't even mind it because I feel like there was actually like like I was saying earlier about the fact that they sort of like it's more of a reaction to how they've ended up at this point that sort of pushes them
yeah,
together,
yeah.
and I feel like they could bounce off each other quite well.
I wouldn't mind them as like a little fling, but I don't think that they'd have a long-lasting, deep, meaningful relationship personally. But I could, of course, be stood to be
Can
corrected on this.
I see a world where we're looking at Elaine Beale in the credits? I don't know.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
wouldn't go that far. But in
No.
terms of like relationship can mean a lot of things though, can't it? Like
Yeah,
this doesn't necessarily need to be the sort of thing where they're swinging from the chandeliers all day and night. It can also mean companionship. It can also mean a crazy mad relationship where they spend a lot of time together and they sort of enjoy each other's company whilst driving each other mad at the same time. Like I often feel like relationships themselves can be characters as well. Like you can sort of characterize a
yeah.
relationship. So I wonder if that's going to be a sort of thing with Ian and Elaine. Like there's various options you can do, I think. So I guess we'll have to just wait and see how it plays out. But do let us know where you think the relationship between Ian and Elaine might be going. What do you think? And you can do that by doing the following.
You can find us on Facebook at Albert Square After Dark, on Twitter and Instagram at E20 After Dark. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can listen to us on Apple and wherever you find your podcasts. Drop us an email at e20afterdarkpodcast@gmail.com. And if you'd like to buy us a coffee, you can do so by going on buymeacoffee.com/E20 After Dark.
What's wrong with your Irie? You all right?
I know that's how much I hate the thought of Ian and Elaine that it's actually been making me cry. I don't
That's
know. My
ridiculous.
eyes just watering for
He
anyone
did
who's
this last
listening.
week. We had
I
to pause a
know.
few couple of times last week because Ree's eyes was streaming so
I
badly. I
don't know
assume he's
why.
just
Maybe it's hay fever, actually.
staring at my ugly mug for a couple of hours,
Hated
maybe. I
my eyes
assume.
so much, Rob.
Yeah,
That'll be what it was.
must be what it is. Must be what it is. There we are then. So that's it this week, ladies and gents. Thanks very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening. We are going to be here a day late next week, so we will be recording the episode on Saturday and it will be released on the Sunday. So just the one day out. Apologies, but life gets in the way sometimes. So we will see you next Sunday for your usual episode of Albert Square After Dark. So until then, it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
See you then. Goodbye.
Bye.